rocks we see on the surface and inside the surface. So basically, all the rock materials that includes the geosphere, then the surface under this, our terrestrial surface, whatever the rocks and materials are there, that also is included in the geosphere. So what I should say, the geosphere actually includes the rocks, minerals, materials, soil of the crust. So what is the crust now? Question will come. That I will define in a moment. And then there is another structure of this geosphere is the mantle. And then there is a core. So whatever the material is there, irrespective of its characteristics and nature, in the crust, in the mantle, and in the core, actually that whole thing makes the geosphere. The geosphere, this word, as usually generally the words are derived from the Greek language, so it is also derived from there. Geo means earth, kind of a solid bodies, and sphere is some kind of a spherical ball kind of a shape. So what we should say, and we have already learned, I have already given lectures on the hydrosphere, atmosphere, etc. And I have already been talking right from the beginning about the various properties of the biosphere. So all this hydrosphere, atmosphere, biosphere, and this including geosphere, these are the four important atmospheres of the earth. Now, the hydrosphere, as I told in my previous talk, it talks all the lives which are or inside that hydrosphere that is related to the water. And water has many, many forms. I told that it has vapor is a form, it has a solid form like ice and snow, etc. Then it has a liquid form, then it has a humid, moisture, weight. So many forms are there. It includes, I mean, right from the surface of the earth or inside the earth to all the way to the atmosphere. On the other hand, atmosphere means it is an environment of gases that surrounds the whole earth right from the surface to the 500-kilometer above and above that level. We talk generally, I told in one of my lecture on the atmosphere that above 100-kilometer we talk the space begins in view of the quantities, pressure, temperature, and density. While the biodiversity or the biosphere actually talks about the various kinds of life which exist and related on the earth. So that is what we are going to talk now on today. I first would like to define the what do I mean by the crust, mantle, and the core, etc. Dear friends, what you can do, you can just take in hand a melon seed, big melon seed or a big teddy, spherical in shape, and you cut from the top to all the way up to the center of that melon seed. Then you will see from the top surface to the center of that melon seed. So you just assume that that melon seed is basically our earth. And then you try to compare whatever I'm saying as different layers of that melon seed as this geosphere. Generally, when we talk about the crust, it means the top portion of about 0 to some 50 to 70 kilometers. And in that, the first top surface, say up to 10 kilometer, and almost 70% of the surface area is covered by the oceans. But the remaining 30% area, that land area, has a variety kind of lands in which the mountains also are there, the hills are there, plains are there, and the irrigation land is there, etc. So that portion is known as the crust, but that crust is the part actually of lithosphere. So we call it a lithosphere, and just below lithosphere, we call it a asthenosphere. but this whole thing that is below lithosphere is the mantle stars. Now you will surprise the beauty of the God or the beauty of this geosphere, because as I told that everywhere the pressure, temperature, and density, they control the whole laws of nature. And it is all automatic. It is self-organized, it is self-regulated system. Now you see that in the mantle, the large portion means I'm saying almost to 2,850 kilometers. It is a thick portion and it is solid. But above that, there were oceans, which is almost 70% oceans on the surface, and that is at the top. But as soon as you go below this 2,850 kilometer thick portion that is below side, then you come across the one of the portion that is important portion, core. And core is divided into two portions, two divisions, outer core and inner core. And just above the outer core and at the bottom of this mantle, there is a Cutterberg discontinuity. And when I say use the word this discontinuity, it means either the pressure is changing or the temperature is changing. And I will prove you with the profile of the temperature as well as the pressure that there is a discontinuity over there. And wherever there is a discontinuity, I told earlier when I was giving lectures of the atmosphere and hydrosphere, the discontinuities there means the gradients are developed. Gradients means, again, I would like to tell that the pressure as a function of the depth or the height changes all of a sudden, or the temperature all of a sudden changes, which I told in the atmosphere, if you remember, how the sound speed and temperature are keep on changing as a function of height above the surface. Okay, so now you will see that in the outer core, it is completely liquid, and it is almost for 2,200 kilometer thick portion is full of liquid. Temperature is very high, but temperature is further high even in the inner corona, which is of the 1,270 kilo, but it is solid. It is solid. So temperature is very high at the center of the earth, but still it is a solid portion. And above that, it is a liquid. And above the liquid in the mantle, again, it is solid. And above solid, that is in asthenosphere, it is partially melted and partially it is solid, where generally we get the water from what we call as underground water, etc. So see, this is the funny structure. And this funny structure is because of these two quantities, which I would like to tell. On the left side, it is a pressure diagram as a function of the depth in the y-axis and the quantity pressure increasing from left to right on the x-axis. You can see that above, just at above the core, that is at the point of the outer core, the pressure suddenly changes and it becomes flat, and then again it changes in the inner core. Similarly, if you see on the right side, the temperature, which is keep on increasing as a function of the depth inside, but suddenly at the outer core, you see that it becomes flat and then again, suddenly, sharply, it starts to decrease. This is what in mathematically, in the differential equations, although I do not like to go into detailed mathematics, but what we call as a temperature T, the dt by dx, that is as a function of the depth, sudden change takes place, and as a result, the whole density which was there of the material, it gets converted into the fluid. And then again, it goes straight forward, and in the inner core, it becomes solid. So whatever the time of the formation of the earth, whatever happened, that is still inside. It is the earth is cooling down inside, but it takes a lot of time because the radiation are actually stopped inside and keep on hitting the other particles inside of the different elements. Earth has as of now told, we know 118 elements. Please remember, 118 elements are there. Now, this is the definition as per the science. Now, what does the Jainism say about our Earth, that is Prithvi? It's a wonderful that Jainism says that the whole Earth, basically, it is from the non-living material, that is Ajiv, and it is but physical structure, that is Astikaya. And it says that Ajiv, Astikaya, there are four different uh, types, which we have already, I have told you, but I would like to tell you from Panchastikaya, the Kandhaya Kandhe Desa Kandapa Desa Yahati Paramanu Idite Chatuta Vayapuga Labkavya Munanavayava. This says that there are four different types of this non-living, in which we call as a Pudgal, which basically its basic entity is Parmanu, and then Dharma, Adharma, and Akash. I have already described all these things, but just to remind you, the Pudgal means matter, and Dharma, Adharma, that is dynamic and static media, and the Akash is the space, which gives the Avga, means space to all other uh, elements. So one space point actually gives the house or accommodation to the Pudgal as well as Dharma, Adharma, and Kal Dravyas. So Jeev also is there, but Jeev here, I'm not just saying, I'm going to define you the definition of Prithvi. So here we say that Pudgal, now please just try to understand what do I mean by Pudgal when we describe this Earth kind of system. It's a big system. Earth is a big system, but it is composed of small particles. That is the Parmanu. Now, I just would like to give you one first example. Let us say in your palm, you take 100 particles of a uniform sand, wraith, sand 100 particles. So 100 is, let us say n is a number and you have 100 particles. Now you divide this 100 particle when you have a complete that 100 as a one body, then you say it is a skandh. So right from skandh, it goes all the way down. So if you divide this n 100 by 4, that is half and half of half. So 25% or by 4. So n by 4, that goes all the way to the Skandha Pradesh. And if you divide by 2, then it is Skandha Desh. And the 100, that number, individual number, is a Parmanu. So sand is a one particle is a Parmanu. However, I told you earlier also, and again I would like to tell, here in Jainism, Parmanu is not visible. It is a very small and minute of almost 10 to the power minus 42 centimeter square area kind of thing, which we cannot see even with the current microscopes. So, but whatever the space, whatever the space that Parmanu covers, whatever the area, region that covers the Parmanu, that is known as one Pradesh, that is point. So in one point that is the Parmanu, that is the Pradesh. Okay. So this is the kind of thing. Now the Jainism says that Earth basically is made up of all these smallest particle to the big skandh. So one mountain or a series of mountain may be the big skandh, and then small hills and all the way to soil and the small sand and micro particles, etc., nanoparticles, femtoparticles. So the Earth actually basically made of various kinds of this such structures. So what the science people told, the rocks and all the rocks materials. So similarly here, we can say the skandh and all the divisions of skandh, it is made of that. But in the Jainism, in contrast to science, the earth bound, that is earth, is considered as a one sense life. Why it is considered, that is an important point. And what does it say? That Prithvi is similar to that is geosphere, similar to hydrosphere, heliosphere, and atmosphere. It is also a one sense life. Even Vanaspati Kaya also is a one life sense life, and that important property is of touch. So similarly, all these they have a property of touch, but it is immobile. That is static. They don't move from one place to other place. That is, it is considered they are the life of that. Means they have the physical, they have a physical asti kai, it is there. So they have a some kind of a nature. But I told earlier that all these kind of asti kai, that these lives are considered because they are able to give the energy source. They are considered as source of energy. Jal, that is hydrosphere, atmosphere, heliosphere, and even the geosphere. Now, this energy in various forms, wherever either they give the energy or help in the evolution of life. All these they help in evolution of life, including the vanaspati kaya, that the plant sphere. Okay, so all these help in the evolution and they nurture the life. So they actually are proving themselves to provide or create inside their structure the vulvas योनि के गठन का, योनि के निर्माण का ये पूरे सबके सब स्थान है. So that is why they themselves are really in the sense the vibration they provide, and they provide the energy. Now Prithvi काय is one kind of, so earth is itself is only one type. So when in Jainism, basically the whenever they say geosphere means not only earth on which we live. This is a very important aspect, that Jainism talks all geospheres inside that cosmos. So earth like bodies, what I should say, earth like bodies are considered as the geospheres, and they all are considered the as a life, one sense life. Now there are many kind of the important other aspects inside that earth or on the surface of the earth, and that is what we say reptiles kind of the life. So any life, any organism, any life structure after its death, as per its karma, but if it takes the rebirth on the earth, on the earth means on the surface or inside the surface, under the surface, but it has a curvilinear. And I will show you also today, I will demonstrate you curvilinear kind of a bacteria or reptiles like a snake or etc. Whatever the big or that is known as Prithvi Jeev. That is the earth bounded lives, not earth itself as a, that earth itself is a life of one sense. So there is a big description about the various types of forms of life of earth. अर्थ का ही कितने प्रकार का जीव है, that itself is a big topic. Dear friends, this is only I am giving you as an introduction about this earth and all these things. Otherwise, in fact, I need one lecture to give you about the related to the earth and the types of earth, etc. There is a one very good, I mean, our verse in Gomatsar, Raj Karthik, etc., and many, I mean, Sarvar Siddhi. There are four types. What they say, the Chatur Vidheti Muktam Pratyekam Taketyam Veta Utnyate Prithvi, Prithvi Kaya, Prithvi Kagyai, Prithvi Jeev. So these are four types of different life systems of their Prithvi, Prithvi Kaya, Prithvi Kakai, similar to earth bound life. Earth itself, earth as a physical body, and similar to earth means now related to the cosmos and the jeev, that is all lives of on the earth, that is on the earth surface and below the surface. This thing actually requires a lot of discussions and presentation, demonstration. This requires one more lecture, but we will see sometimes in future. And this is because my subject, so I can talk also. Anyway, next I would like to talk you is, as I told, that science has discovered so far 118 elements on the earth. Now, Jainism, in the contrast, say there are 36 categories, types you can say, or jati means the categories. Now, this 122 plus many other things, not only that, 118 plus many other things are included in this 36 category. This is very important. Now, on what basis they have categorized this? So, as I told, the earth itself is a single sense life, means it is an energy which, that energy which helps in birth, evolution, nurturing, etc. of the other lives. So whatever the now I have given these 36 different names, whether it is a physical kind of a soil, or it is a sand, baluka, or the or sugar oriented thing, or the salinity, that is lavan things, that salt related, and the various kinds of elements, just like iron, copper, raga, that is this what we call is a kasya kind of thing, and many other kinds of elements which we know by name, some of them, but basically they are the complex and a group of system. Each one is a group of elements. So group, just like I say, even they have included in our Jainism the radiation, photons which we come. So on the earth when it is reflected back. So just like for example, Chandrakant means the rashmis, radiations, photons which come from the moon and then reflected back, that is the Chandra. Similarly, from the hydrosphere, whatever the reflected back. Suryakant, that is from the Helios, whatever. And similarly, many kinds of gemstones. Basically, you know all that gemstones are the supposed, or they are the sources of the life. So all these are whole categorized 36 in total number, and this is very important. Anyway, now I cannot take too much in detail in what is the definition and what are the different categories and uh, definitions of each one, etc., because I have to finish my talk related to this. So I will end up here about this description in Jainism. And now I would like to take you to the, as I told, that there is lives, not only the first of all on the surface of the earth, but under the surface of the earth. And this is most important thing. This is what the Jainism says, that everywhere there is a life. This is what in our written in our canonical text. Now, what is the proof of that? Is this, that under the earth there are millions and millions of vulvas, that is yonis, are there. That is what I described in the previous slide. 36 are the major sources of energies, and they provide, because all the elements by and large they are inside under the earth. Okay. So they are actually working round the clock for the, as providing and imparting the energy to others to nurture and evolve. So the varieties of lives are there, that I will tell you in a moment. But you can see that there are many, and there was a big research international program was there. So I'm giving reference of that only, and that international research scientist team itself has told that they have cited and they have sent the document to United Nations also, that there are much more actually the life organisms under the earth. And they have also told that this should be termed as a deep biosphere, because a lot of organisms are there. I cannot go into the detail of each of these various kinds of uh, uh, creatures, various kinds of life systems, bacteria, etc. But these are there. And in the next few slides, we will discuss about all these things. So what this research team has come up, And this is very alarming to all of us. It is some kind of a warning, as well as important for us to pride also on our journeys, because whatever we told, the science has, at least to some extent, they have proven. But it is not fully proven because still the technology is limited. What they say that more than 2 billion cubic kilometer, which is almost twice the volume of the oceans. So this is the deep biosphere is there of the whole size. They determined that it is of big size. Further, they also calculated that almost 15 to 23 billion tons is the biomass. The biomass I told of the life, okay? And don't get confused with the carbon mass. We will come to the carbon mass today because that is important to talk on my today's presentation. So researchers basically have compared all these numbers with the what subterranean, the what we call as a Galapagos, means the all kinds of lives surrounding the everywhere. Okay? And then they found that there are actually millions of types of bacteria and archaea. So this has been actually noticed, and what they have done, they have characterized also. So this is what the during this our Bhagwan Mahavir in one of the Samosharan, he when he was describing about the earth, he already told about the various kinds of processes which are going in the geophysics, geochemistry, and geobiology. He told that, as well as he told that various kinds of lives. And I strongly recommend to all of you to read that pravachan, which was actually he gave in Ardhamagdi language, and it has been documented also in various our Agam literatures. This is the kind of the life on the whole earth, whether outside or inside. So this, you can see that all kinds of life means 1 to 5 senses on the terrestrial surface. Now there are three systems are there, which that is what I am going to describe. What three systems? The one is the terrestrial surface, that is on the top surface of the earth. Then one is the marine, that is oceans. And the third, which I am going to describe today, is the deep biosphere, that is below the surface of the earth. So now you can say that the brown color which has been shown is the terrestrial color. Then blue color is for the marine, and the slightly light violet color is for the deep biosphere, that is under the surface of the earth. You can see that by and large, 86% of the total life from 1 sense to 5 sense, okay, it lives on the surface of the earth, but still you will surprise 13% of the life is under the deep biosphere, that is under the surface. And the total mass on the surface, that is 470 billion tons of carbon. Okay, 470 billion tons of carbon, and under this is 70 billion tons of carbon, and hardly about the, you can say 1% or something like that is in the ocean. So when I was talking about the hydrosphere, I was talking about the lives of about 1 to 2% only. The major portion of the life is on the terrestrial surface, that is in the geosphere, on the surface and under the surface. You can see that all the plants, Vanaspati Jeev, is 100% on this surface, but very little bit it is in the marine oceans also. So we cannot say 100%, but at least 0.2, 0.5% is in the marine oceans. And I showed in my last talk when I was talking about in hydrosphere. Then there are many other bacteria, fungi, protosts, these bacteria, Escherichia, animals also. So basically now if you see with the colors, you will find that the fungi and this uh, is almost 98% it is on the earth surface, while 2% it is in the oceans. Similarly, the protests also 46%, and 30 and 56% in the oceans. Then animals, which we have been talking, 2 cents to the 5 cents. Okay, even in fact, the mosquito is also considered in science as an animal. So this 22% is there, and 78% is in the oceans. Now the turn comes the bacteria and archaea. Those largely they are under the surface and very little on the surface. So whatever you see that the large number of life actually exists also below the surface of the earth. So we should be very, very careful for both above the surface, on the surface, I mean, the superficial terrestrial life, and under superficial, the subsurficial terrestrial life. However, I give this example as I told that in the subsurficial life, it is microbes also, that bacteria and archaea, etc. But there are many, many different kinds of curvilinear, that is Vigrahi mode kinds of lives in the, that is reptiles kind of big bacteria are there. What I have given in this A, B, C, and D names, okay, and these kinds of creatures or bacteria, animals are inside under the surface. And what I have given as a scale on this thing. So for A, you can see that it is 50 micron. That much scale is 50 micron. So you can just measure the fracture which is has been shown. It is of about 200 micron. Similarly, in uh, this 100 cent micron is the C, that is this curvilinear, and you can see that 100 micron is only this much, and the whole length may be of about the 500 microns or something. D, the scale which has been shown is 20 micron, but the size is almost more than a millimeters, that is by few millimeters, 5,000 microns or something. So, and various, it's a, you can see the structure, we can derive by spectroscopic studies the characteristics of this dam, and that is what has been done by the scientists. The various characteristics have been studied. So it is not only that, but what we are going to do in the terrestrial animals, and when we compare the small organisms on the terrestrial surface with them, then we will find that there are many, many matches are there, and they are interacting with them. What generally we talk about the, sorry for my throat, that more, mainly when we talk about the terrestrial, then we see with our eyes, just like cats, dogs, ants, and many other small species, cockroaches, etc., etc. And when we compare it with the aquatic animals like a fish and other crocodiles, octopus, starfishes, many them, because that we have seen and we generally have in our mind only, and our whole memory goes to compare with them. But we never compare those which we have never seen. And that is the what the Jainism says, that give respect, try to protect them which you don't see, which you don't see, that microbes or even the nanobes. And that is the important, because they are more in number than what we are human beings on the earth. And that is the important part of the whole Jainism lesson. Terrestrial animals tend to be more actually developed and intelligent than the aquatic animals. So those on the live on the surface, they are intelligent because they get much more oxygen, etc., and other the relevant atmosphere. But the aquatic, that is those live in the hydrosphere, that is in the oceans, etc., they don't get exposed with the more suitable environment. So they don't have that much talent. So it is our duty now of the talented creatures, talented people, to take care of those all creatures, all lives which is in the ocean, in the atmosphere, above the surface, and under the surface. There are three different types which has been, I mean, defined. And this I told when I was telling about the our Jainism also. That Generally, those kinds of lives which primarily lives in the trees, they are different from those lives which live on the land. So first division now. First division, the lives on the land and the lives on the or inside the trees. This is on the superficial, terrestrial, not subsurfaces. And in the terrestrial, that is on the land, there are again three different types. And these three different types based on their properties or characteristics. The one is the saxocolous, that is generally those live on the rocks. They remain stuck with the rock and they dwell their food. They do only from the rock only. And it is possible because the rocks actually have calcium hydroxide, and inside hydroxide means the water is there. They generally are the humid and they get the food from the rocks itself. Then the arenocolous, they generally live in the sand. Generally, sand also is the you see with the humid and inside the moisture, lot of water also is there, and they get the food from the sand. Sand is nothing but the silicon dioxide, so they get the food from the silicon. A lot of lizards you might have seen, Chipkalia, they live also. There are lots of snakes. They also need the sand as their food. And then Trogofauna, Troglofauna also predominantly lives in the caves. And you generally know the caves are the good place because they have the homogeneous inside the some kind of a atmospheric conditions. And many people were doing inside the caves, they were doing the meditation, penance, etc. So inside there is a, because of the small spray which is coming from the water drops, so enough oxygen and hydrogen, H2O molecules are there and water is there. So lots of creatures, they develop in the caves and their whole life actually they spend in the caves only. Now if you compare with all these things, then you will find that all these places are nothing but they are the actually locations or the birthplaces or the yoni as per the Jainism. So you can say that how much deep study was already conducted by Bhagwan Mahavir during his meditation or the Keval Gyan Hua. So he already was a big scholar and he already have seen in few seconds of time on every aspect of this geosphere, then in the space, cosmos, and all aspects of this universe he was aware, and that is what in Samosharan he described and discussed. But are we aware about all these things? What kind of things we are doing, what we are doing as a human being, as a five sense animal, as an intelligent people, are we doing these things? No, we are not doing as what an intelligent person should have done. In fact, we are doing against. We are trying to kill this all creatures, all lives, all animals. See, it is very serious matter. I can understand about the people, those who actually born much earlier time. That is during our Sukma time, then Sukma time, then in the third era, Sukma Dukma, then fourth era, Dukma Sukma. And I can understand. So in the beginning, as per the science, almost 7 million years is the history timeline of the human evolution. And it took almost 5 to 6 millions of years for these proto-humans to spread from Africa to Asia, and then from Asia to Europe, and then all over the globe. Only what happened during this time, because they were totally dependent on the nature. They were not intelligent people. They had not developed even their mind also very proper. They were totally dependent on the nature, it means on the environment, and gathering the food from the plants, basically from the nature, from the whatever the water is there, etc. and they did not know even the story of the that is the fire, etc., how to cook the food, whatever they were getting from the nature, including the even the hunting, very easy, uh, which is possible for them. Whether they started only after just 1 million year back or so, but earlier that, then they were totally dependent on the nature. What happened only very recently, 50,000 years back, and from there to this 10,000 years back, they slowly actually became little bit when the environment climate was changing, and they when they were not getting enough food from the nature, then they started to do the this hunting, and they developed this art, they developed some kind of a tools to kill the animals, etc. So as the intel talent actually was keep on growing, the more and more the man became violent. जैसे जैसे उसकी बुद्धि बढ़ी, वैसे वैसे हिंसा इस धरती पर बढ़ी. That is what I wish to convey. So this thing happened, and in more recent time, when the third era, that third eon, by the time the when Bhagwan Rishabh Dev started to tell to them and to bring the breakthrough in their lifestyle, then this agriculture started at that time. Okay, that is the story of about, people say that about 1,40,000 years in, but some 10,000 years definitely. That is what science says, the archaeology says, that is Neolithic time, that when the human being started the domestication of women, domestication of animals, and they started to growing the food in farms, etc., and crops started. And then he started to realize also that what kind of animals are easy, what kind of other creatures are easy to eat, how to cook. And in this 50,000 years, he started also, he learned about the fire, he learned also how to cook the food. So all these things, and he took the taste of the salt also, and with different kind of then spices in next last 5 to 10,000 years. But what happened? As I told, as the talent increased, he started to kill the various kinds of creatures. You can see that the per capita in this picture I have shown, that from the chickens, whatever the number of eggs which he started to eating. I have data only just last 60, 70 years, from 1961, when the data observation started. You can see that the number of eggs per capita per year the people started to eat. Earlier, actually, the United Nations, I mean, United Kingdom, Brazil, they were actually eating more number of eggs. But now, slowly, slowly, China has taken over almost by one order of magnitude high, and the Brazil, United Kingdom came down, and again now they are increasing. But the other many other countries, they are now eating more and more the eggs. You know that the very famous slogan, Sunday ho ya Monday, khub khao ande, that I think it has become some kind of fashion, and which is against the Jainism of the non-violence, ahimsa, on which I am giving this my deliberations. And you can see that there is an exponential growth in eating the eggs. So as much now we are becoming more and more talented, we are doing more and more killing of the lives. You can see in this also, again, the China is taking over here, that the fish number of this is aquatic now animals, and large number. And this again, in the aquatic also, there is an exponential growth after 1980 or so, that by almost, and this is not only, dear friends, not in kg, it is in millions of tons. It means the China is exporting now, not only eating for their own population, but they actually has become a industry. So ocean is made a industry by killing all this. And why oceans are important on this geosphere, I will tell you in a few moments from now. So you can see I have even named other countries also, in which India is also there, but the China has developed a big industry in this field. On the other hand, you see, we call the cow Gai Hamari Mata hai. And we have given the different kind of a tags to the cow that it is, oh mother, it is a symbol of this god, it is symbol of this goddess, it is a symbol for the Bhagwan Krishna, and ox is a symbol of Lord Shiva, etc. But what is happening? What is happening with the cow? In fact, we should have protected the cow, and cows should have been banned all over the globe, all over the world, not to be slaughtered, not to be killed. On the contrary to that, the cows and buffaloes are the livestock. And particularly, this is a huge livestock in India where this is all worshipped. So what is happening, if you see in this plot, that India actually has the largest in millions of this number of cows and cattle, that is uh, cows, buffaloes, and goats, sheep, etc. They are in millions. 200 millions means, what do you mean by that? It is 20, more than 20 crores or like that. It is almost always above, and it undergoes to the for killing of these animals. I would like to show you this slightly as a first vision of only for 2016 numbers, only for 1 year, only for 1 year. The China actually, this is the for the slaughterhouse. Okay, you can see that this is basically how many 10 top countries which are slaughtering the most cows. So you can see that even the India number is also there. But India's slaughterhouse are there. It is being killed. But India sells directly livestock to all over the world. And in fact, the buffalo, that's the beef and other meats, you say India alone, India alone meets the 25% of the demand of the whole world. It means India tops. You see, alone, the 25% export is from India. So it means it must be having large number of slaughterhouses. Okay. And I would like to show that this is the some kind of a plot of different kind of animals which are being slaughtered every day, and this is from 1961 to 2016. This is the time, x-axis is the time, and in y-axis it is given that how many millions of tons of the meat is being, I mean, through the slaughtering of these animals. You can see that the cat, mostly sheep, are being slaughtered every day in the thousands of numbers, or maybe in millions of numbers all over the world. And then the cattle are there, pigs are there, all these things. And these all I'm talking is a panchendriya, five sense lives are there. They feel, they know that we are going to be slaughtered and we are going to be killed. Then this is the another yearly number, that is annual number of the animals being slaughtered for meat, that is for the food. Means there is nothing, no crops, all finished on the earth. Earth is not able to now grow any other crops, but people are taking interest in the meat, in eating the non-vegetarian food. They don't want to eat. That's why 92 to 93% people domain of the whole earth or all over the world is non-vegetarian. You can see that the large number of chickens are being killed and they are being eaten every day. Here, dear friends, what I have done, I have made an effort to show you now which countries. So on the y-axis, you can see the countries. In the colors, I have shown the different kind of species of the lives which are being actually killed, and that is their meat consumption by this different species in this. And you can see that the Portugal and United States, it is per capita, that is per person per year, how much they eat. It is more than 100 kg. More than 100 kg, they eat only non-vegetarian food. See, and similarly, you can see the Argentina, Brazil, they are also very highly non-vegetarian. South America, United Kingdom. Yes, you can notice that India, oh, you will just put a pebble on me. You can throw a stone on me and say, oh, see, you are talking so much slaughterhouse in India. But in India, people eat per capita only 10 kg. Yes, this is the number up to 2019. Yes, and it may be now 12 kg. We eat less non-vegetarian food, but sell, we provide a large number of non-vegetarian food outside India. We export a lot. And then very small actually of the Ethiopia, but the most minimum non-veg food is eaten in Bangladesh, basically because their food is the rice and fish only. So maybe about 5 kg per capita per annum. So in fact, if you ask me, then the most vegetarian countries are the Bangladesh and Ethiopia. And this is what I can prove also in my next few slides when I will talk, giving you the stock of that. You can see, friends, here that what kind of things are going on when number of actually poultry birds, the birds which live on the earth, surface of the earth, but they fly also. Okay, and then again China is topping on that, and there is an industry, and they send to all over, particularly to USA, though this export is there, and in the other countries, European countries, etc. Okay, I told you that we have large number of slaughterhouse. India is selling, exporting the lot of meat outside, non-vegetarian food outside. It means it must be having large number of slaughterhouse. So what is that? The only the our eye whipping is the more number of slaughterhouses in India than the milk units in India. Children need milk, but that milk actually is in always crisis in India. And in fact, if you ask, this is the old number, but now it is 2,000 registered slaughterhouses are there, and about 250 registered milk units, and 700 or about 800 liquid milk plants are there. See, this is the pity situation, and every day the goats, bakri, and ships, they are the being slaughtered, either slaughtered in here and in India itself. If you see, the largest slaughterhouse of India or maybe of the world is in India, in Aligarh, where directly or indirectly 25 lakhs people are employed. So you can imagine every second how much sale is there, and how much export is there, and how many animals of different species they are being killed. I don't want to give you a terrific number of the year what happens in this Aligarh, but this is real situation of that what we are doing in India, which is known as a center or the in the world as a religious uh, holy place of the world in the Southeast Asia, particularly, but in the general, it is in the globe where we talk about the various cultures and various religious philosophies, etc., of the non-violence, the Jainism, Buddhism, and all other things, Hinduism. But major things is that slaughterhouses are in India. I told you in the beginning that don't get confused with this biomass with the carbon footprint. The carbon footprint now is another important aspect. In addition to this, whatever the violence matters I talked to you. The carbon footprint is the number. It is some kind of a quantitative index of how much an individual just like me or individual like you, how much carbon dioxide emission is generated by an individual, then by different entities. When I say entities, means the other social systems, just like in the flats you live, that building society, corporation, or the state or the country itself. So when you do the summation or integral of whole carbon dioxide in mathematically language, the whole integration from all sources, that is the carbon footprint of a given country or a given society. Okay, and that is considered that how much carbon footprint print is there. And this is very important because how much, whatever, if it is keep on increasing, it means that will change your climate. It will, the, I mean, change your environment. It will create the environment imbalance. So why it happens? Because the carbon dioxide emission, I told you last time during the atmosphere, when I was talking about the Vayu Kaya Jiva, the fossil fuel we are actually burning, that is petrol, diesels, and kerosenes, and all other things, ethanols. Then we are doing also the not only this combustion, but the industries, manufacturing, then the heating, transportation, electricity generation, many things. So all these things where we use this, I mean, fossil fuels, and we generate the carbon dioxide. But it is not only carbon dioxide which makes the greenhouse effect, but other greenhouse gases, just like methane, water vapor, chlorofluorocarbons, etc. There are many others, nitrous oxide, sulfur dioxide gases, and all those included now as in this greenhouse. So we can say the carbon footprint basically when we define, then these emissions are also included in that. Why this carbon footprint point came? Because earlier we were using the ecological footprint, means it was a positive aspect. But we found that the now negative aspect, that carbon dioxide and other greenhouse gases are taking it over. So we had to define the carbon footprint. When we talk the ecological actually footprint, then two very important aspects were proposed. Very important, I mean, in the Montreal Agreement as well as in the Kyoto Agreement. In the earlier, when this chlorofluorocarbon was there, at that time also when the carbon dioxide was there, other gases were there. So the two aspects to, I mean, manage this carbon dioxide, the two important aspects which were proposed were, one is the afforestation, that is plant more and more number of trees, more plant, more green our whole earth. That was the idea. But no country, including India, no country actually, no country accepted too much. Some countries definitely, like USA and South America countries, they accepted and they started to grow these plants and trees in large number. But then later on, when they saw that the other countries are not taking keen interest, they stopped. The other, so why? Because our trees absorb the carbon dioxide, and against that they release the oxygen. That is the plan. So more number of trees, they will absorb more quantity of carbon dioxide, and more oxygen will be there, and that will be a healthy symptom on the earth for the all lives, not only human beings, but every life needs oxygen. The other idea was about to protect the ocean lives. The big fishes, they absorb carbon dioxide on the surface, and then they go all the way down to the surface basin of the sea, basin of the ocean, and they deposit the carbon dioxide over there. And their life is almost 200 to 500 years of the big fishes. But what we did, neither we actually grew the trees, no plants. On the other hand, instead of afforestation, we did deforestation. And on the other hand, instead of giving protection to the lives of in the ocean, we made ocean itself. We made the ocean itself as an industry. You see, we made the atmosphere, aviation as an industry. We made the ocean also as an industry. So the whole now ecology imbalance is there. There is another cruelty which we are doing is recreation hunting. That is just for enjoyment, we say. However, it is not only for enjoyment we are doing for our selfishness also. So there was again a big research group was formed, and they targeted some species. And what they did, there were large number of publications were there, say more than 1,000 on different species. So what that group did is actually a study of these research papers, and then realization with the nature, what is really happening. I'm audible. Are you able to hear me?
Yes, yeah, you are very clearly audible.
Okay, thank you. So now what happened? What they did with identified the targeted species and related to that how many number of research papers have been published. So they considered that. So I have given in the brackets for different species how many research papers were used by this group. And finally, they came up with a very surprising result. And that group actually was the first group. They told that there are many species, they don't exist now, they are extinct. And what they did, and they told that this is a biggest cruelty by humans on this earth. Please underline this because it harms environment. Human is most cruel entity on this earth, and because this not harms environment but the major reality, that is the life on this earth. And earth, when I say, means all the five systems, that is atmosphere, hydrosphere, heliosphere, geosphere, and the plant sphere. You can see on my left side, actually, in fact, I not able to show all the different kinds of life structure which have been studied by them, but you can see that that number of the lives which have already been killed by the red color. You can see some red color that is already finished. They are extinct. They are no more on this earth. Our generations not will be able to see them. And you can see that the many lives out of this, many animals from this thousands of list, they were also the actually symbolic representation by our Tirthankars also. You know the horse, you know the our buffalo, the cow, and this elephant, etc., snake, all these kinds of many, because Jainism basically is a religion of non-violence. Most out of 24 tirthankars, 16 tirthankars actually proposed as a symbolic representation their identification by these animals, and other eight by the kind of cosmos related thing, just like for Chandra Prabhu, Chandrama is there. Okay, like that, many cosmos identification. So that is why the Jainism is always known as the religion of earth and cosmic order. So you can see that out of this, when the whole study was done, then they told that more than 500 species are already extinct. They are no more there because the people in their amateur way or in the recreation hunting, they did not only kill that species, but they killed their eggs also. Their eggs means the source of the birth itself completely finished, and the vulva yoni was also finished over there. So that kind of creature, that kind of species now will never be able to seen by human being in, and our next generation they will never see this kind of species. And many birds are there, they have already eaten. And what I wish to say, that this team told that, you see, we have just a small cut if we have on our palm or in a finger, even a small, then we feel the pain. Am I right? Yes, everybody must agree with me that we always feel a small with the, even a needle touches, then we feel the pain because we have a nervous system. You don't think that all these animals, they also have a nervous system? They also have nervous system. Their blood also regulates inside their body, and they also feel the pain. And whatever, whenever we get hurt and we feel pain, or we got hurt by somebody else, then we use the bad words or abuse and give curse, maybe silently, that is in infrasonic way, but our mental state says that we are giving curse to them. Similarly, now the pain waves or the pain they also feel. Please remember, this is very important slide for me to tell you that the pain is actually felt by each and every organism, even by a mosquito also. So just remember that. And so next time, whenever the time permits, I will talk about the pain waves, or generally people call is sometimes Einstein plane waves. But I had already told you when I was talking about the atmosphere and other things about the Traube Herring waves and other, even the below that wavelength, which goes to the several kilometers, okay, and that deposits our through the tejas, our all the action through the, that is the karma bandh takes place. So this is a very important point, and we should take care of. So we have to become non-violent, and we should take care. Here is the footprint of our habitat destruction. Just see there what is happening. If you see the South America, North America, that all the hot spots are there. So they are the more interested in this recreation destruction by recreation hunting, or in fact, it is selfish. They want to do this for eating the food as those animals or the creatures. Okay, and similarly, you see in the Asia also, in the China, Japan, and the South Asia also, and in the North Africa. But honestly, one thing I wish to admit, and it was my mistake. It was my mistake up to 2010. I was under impression that the Africa is the actually most non-vegetarian continent on the earth, but it is not so. In fact, when I visited this Ethiopia, Kenya, South Africa, many other countries nearby, I was really surprised because the large population is of different kind of Christians. They we call is Orthodox Christian, and they are largely derived. They say, as per their, I mean, versions or notions which we recorded also, and I have published papers when I was doing the discovery of Chandraprabhu Temple in Ethiopia. I did work in Kenya also. Uh, you see, I was surprised that whole that Orthodox Christians, they 50% time when they say that they are on fasting, means they don't eat any kind of non-vegetarian food. And in that 150 days, then hardly maybe a small amount of, and that is because they were forced by the Christians. Earlier, they were actually, the original form was of the Shraman culture, Shraman Sanskriti. They were, they derived, they belong to that culture. Anyway, that is not the topic that we will talk sometimes when we will give lecture series on history of Jainism. But basically now if you see everywhere, the by and large small or the other kinds of the hot spots are there, and they do this habitat destruction. They are involved in various kind of activities. So habitat destruction is also by the various kind of natural process, as well as by the amateur, by the human beings also. So this we have to be careful. Anyway, we cannot do anything much in the natural processes, which is the taking place either by the volcanoes or other natural disasters, and by, but whatever the biodiversity loss is there, the two important things which I would like to tell is a important part. Actually, I would say that whatever we are doing activities, we are putting danger in danger this many species, not only fish. You see, fish is also intelligent animal. If you want to throw the net, now they already understand, they go down deeper inside that. Similarly now, but we have made the system by this non-vegetarian meals, or by this hunting, or by killing, I should say, that some kind of a species are now in danger. That is even the including the lion, which is supposed to be a king of the our this forest. The two important processes out of whole this in the this slide I have told many kinds of things which we are doing. Let us say we are actually natural resources, urbanization we are doing transportation, we are doing lots of pressure of mining, logging water, and urban sprawl, etc. But many things like climate change, although we are doing the climate change, but that is thing. But the invasive species, what do I mean by invasive species? Means basically what happens, that invasive, the other, for a given area for a given area, now you are bringing a new kind of a animal. Okay, you are introducing a new animal which is coming from the other part, which was much more suitable in that area and in that environment, in that climate. Now it comes to the new area, so it will not be actually suitable for that, and it will rather harm to the all population over here, and it will harm to the other creatures, other lives in this area. So that is a very important aspect, invasive species, and that we should be very careful, and we should be actually uh, not do intentionally. Another system is habitat fragmentation. You see, in a given area, when some kind of habitat which is already there, and in that area, due to one or other reason, by the climate change or by the other system change or the ecology imbalance, etc., and then it starts to fragment in different zones in the nearby, within the 2 kilometer, 5 kilometer, then it causes, particularly this happens more in the bacteria and archaea and other small, senses, the animals, and this gives effect on the human being. We have already seen this coronavirus, okay, and many kinds of viruses and the vector diseases, they come from this kind of a habitat fragmentation. So, dear friends, now in the last my 4 5 slides, uh, I think I have to finish in 10 minutes. Now I would like to give evidences. What kind of evidences I am going to talk? You see, whatever we do, whatever we do with these lives, whether a single sense, 2 cents, 3 cents, or 5 cents, whatever you kill, whatever you do actions, you finally get the revenge from them. That is what I want to say, reparations from them. And that I want to prove by my 2 research papers, which I have done and already published now. One already published and one is in the press. See, the current scenario which United Nations told to me is the story of up to 2020, that more than 136 million chicken per day. Please remember, per day. I have already shown you the many graphs. Now 13.6, if I say 13.6 crore per day, that many chickens are being killed. For what? For food. So man is so hungry. People are so hungry that they want to eat 13.6 crore chickens per day. Similarly, friends, you will be surprised to note that more than 300 million, more than how many? Sorry, more than 300 million are the fishes, that is farmed fish, that is in the some kind of a area where they are stopped, preserved, and then they are killing every day. So more than 30 crores fishes per day are killed for food again. Means people are hungry, they don't have crops, wheat, rice, etc., and they think that only fish and the chickens are the major food, or the meat is of the other animals. Similarly, the United Nations says that more than 20 crore animals, please underline, 20 crore animals per day are killed for food. See how much our stomach needs, so much. And if you integrate or take the summation over the per year, then you will be surprised to know that 3 billion animals killed per day, if the whole target is taken, that is considering all kinds of animals which I have considered now, means the chickens and all blah blah blah, all these things. And if you take over the whole annual, then 1.2 trillion. How much? Aquatic animals, 1.2 trillions, that is fish and other things, they are killed for their food worldwide every year. In 1 year time, 1.2 trillion means 1.2 into 10 to the power how much? Billion is 9, trillion is 10 to the power 12. That much. So this, I don't know what the people, and when this thing, why I asked United Nations, because I wanted to study the what is reality. This non-vegetarian people, their health is there. They could not actually the, accept. You see, they could not fight with the corona. And the corona virus, when it came, I undertook a big study, and as per the physics or mathematics requirement, that under the homogeneous data. So what I did, I took the 120 countries data, and for the homogeneous split up, I divided 60 countries. That 60 countries, those countries which eat meat per capita, per annum, okay, in 60 countries, those per capita per annum less than 30 kg meat. So red color points, they show the more than 30 kg. Red color points show in this plot those countries which eat the meat per capita per annum more than 30 kg. Okay, then the green less than 30 kg. So total 120 countries. So by mathematically, if I do this, then the first order mistake, error, what we call as error, is square root of 100 divided by n, square root of 100 divided by n. N is 120 countries, so it is less than 10% error. Okay, so the error is less than 10%. And in the y-axis, what I have shown is the death per capita, or that is the on the derived on the population of that country. So how much meat is consumed by that country in x-axis, how much deaths were there per capita is in the y-axis. Now, if the whole this points, this plot is fitted by the linear correlation fitting, and the correlation is very good, more than 0.71. Okay, it is better than that, and this paper has been published in 2-3 magazines, uh, and then this clearly shows that the countries which eat less meat, the death was almost by 3 orders less, or we can say in the other way, that the countries in which the meat which was used or eaten per capita in larger more than 30 kg or about 100 kilogram per capita per annum, the death toll is 3 orders of magnitude. 3 orders, 3 orders. अगर इधर एक मरा है तो उधर 1000 मरे. That is what I want to say. And this was seen by United Nations, and they told, and they widespread it was there. I'm happy to say this is the evidently proven that the non-vegetarian people, what they say that their immunity power is very strong, but it was wrong, and they actually died because the oxygen actually went down in those people. Oxygen went down. So when you eat much more non-vegetarian food, means you are actually reducing your immunity by reducing your oxygen. Now you can ask me a finger, you can pose a finger on me that the Bangladesh and India, where this meat eaten is very, very low. But why there were a lot of deaths were there in Bangladesh and India? I told you also that this is some kind of a revenge of the other animals which are being slaughtered in these two countries. As you know that the cows are being slaughtered largely in Bangladesh and sold by India, and large number of beefs is prepared here and exported from India only. So the revenge goes in that way also. So कर्म जो है वो तो कहीं पे किसी भी तरह से करो, it is written, and that is what I was saying, that whatever the slaughtering is there or whatever in any form, that is the pain waves are there, and that writes your karma bandh. So this paper, I'm happy to say that it has been, read by more than 149,000 people all over the globe, and still I am being asked about this paper. And next, I would like to give another very concrete example that you know that the basically science people says that the earthquakes and volcanoes on the earth take place by the tectonic plates, the motion of the tectonic plates. tectonic plates are all inside the earth, near the mantle and the over there in the solid mantle part, and even the in the core also. But it comes by and large generally 300 kilometers from the surface, so we can include the mantle part largely. And those tectonic plates means those solid rock plates which are in motion, and because of their lot of energy over there, and they are independent, and they can move in because of the high pressure and temperature diversions, which I have already shown to you. So due to those motions, when they collide with each other, lot of energy gets released, or whatever the energy hidden over there, and when they separate away from each other, even then also, so the energy is released. So the energy can be both diverging system as well as converging system may be there, or in fact other way also, when they move very close to each other, then also there is a energy is released. This is what the science says. Now, if I agree with this, yes, I agree because I am a scientist with this. This is also one mechanism. And if it is so, then why this is correct? This is more correct. And what is this? This I wish to explain you, friends. You can see in the x-axis what I have the data is from almost 1961 to 2020. Now, previously I was having up to 2017. Now I have received data from United Nations up to 2020. What is x-axis is the number of years, and in the y-axis, the meat actually production, annual meat production. You can say annual meat production uh, in over the whole globe, okay, over the whole worldwide, and it is in millions of tons. Please remember, underline millions of tons. 1 million means 10 lakhs, that is 10 to the power 6, and tons. 1 ton is 10 to the power 3 kilograms. So it is 10 to the power 9 kilograms. So it is in the y-axis, everything is written in million tons. Okay. And this paper will be published. It is already in press, and it is about to come in a month or 2 months time. Now, what I have shown over here, you please underline and see that and note down the whatever the meat production by the region wise, that is from the Asia, Europe, North America, South America, and Oceania, etc. Now you can see that from 1961 to all the way up to 2020, the meat production is keep on increasing from once a time. It was in 1950, it was about 50 million. In 1961, it was about 60 million. And now it has reached already more than 300 million tons. More than that. In fact, it is more than that. Okay. And now with the increasing meat production, what I have shown in the yellow boxes in I mean, what I should say is a sum up, sum up the earthquakes, and then volcanoes, and then how many, tsunamis were there. So the first number, that is from 1961 to 1970, how many earthquakes were there? Earthquakes greater than more than on the Richter scale 5, that is dangerous earthquakes. I have considered not the small earthquakes, that is earthquakes more than or equal to 5. Then similarly, volcanoes more than or equal to on the volcano explosive index more than 3, and the tsunamis, which are much more dangerous with the strongest winds, that is of the more than say 50 kilometers per hour, 100 kilometers per hour. So in the first 10 years, 40 earthquakes were there. Already 6 volcanoes were there, and the 4 tsunamis were there. But as soon as they increased in the meat production in 1971 to 1980, you can see that 42 earthquakes were there, and similarly 5 volcanoes were there, and then 5 tsunamis were there. And then as a function of increase, you can note down that almost in 1990 to 100, 63 earthquakes, 6 volcanoes, and 17 tsunamis were there. And then in the next decade, that is 2001 to 2010, 341 earthquakes, 11 volcanoes, and 34 tsunamis were there. And in the last decade, that is 2011 to 2020, 421 earthquakes, 29 volcanoes, and 81 tsunamis are already taken place, finished. And now we are in 2023. The final corrected data I have not received, but this is the story up to 2020. And you can, what I wish to convey to all of you is that with the increase in this meat production from all kinds of species, with the increase in meat production, there is an increase in the earthquakes, there is an increase in volcanoes, there is an increase in the tsunamis and stronger tsunamis. This we already have been facing, and we are still not stopping the meat production. Rather, we are keep on increasing. And wherever I go to uh, do some kind of against activities to convey my message, people become against me. See, and when I show this scientific fact, but they are not able to digest this thing. This is, in fact, even much more concrete result than what I told in my last slide. That is how these things happen. That is through the divergence or converging of the tectonic plates. That is the mechanisms which have been proposed. Now, if you take this mechanism and if you take my this mechanism of the hinsa, that is violence, that is the meat production, you will find this is a better fit than this. My one students still are working on this, but meanwhile, we have already now completed paper, and paper is in the press, and it will appear in the next month or next to next month. So what I would like to urge to all of you, what I would like to urge all of you with my folding hands, that please remember Dravya Kshetra, Kal and Bhav, that is matter, region, your life, your time, and your mental state, your spirituality. And don't get involved yourself in any kind of violence. And I also request to all of you to be part of my this mission. You see, I am not able to involve this time or to consider the violence among the human beings. That is violence through the wars, terrorism, and attacks, etc. But simply, I would like to add this plot that how much whatever I talked about the different species from one sense to the five sense, but this is direct violence of intellectuals. And in last, from the Mahabharata times, we have killed, you see, we have killed the human beings more than the some tens of billions of people, tens of billions of people. Okay? In Mahabharata itself, 120 crore people were killed. So you can believe in my words that if billions of peoples have been killed in so many wars in thousands of years, okay, then how many microbes, nanobes might have been killed? How many oceanic and other land animals might have been killed? So it is basically, I will say that it is not a ahimsa word, it is a hinsa word. And that is what we have to stop. And please remember this again, I would like to urge to all of you. So you should be a part of this ahimsa word, not the hinsa word. With this, I would like to thank to all of you for your kind attention and kind understanding. And if you have now anything which you don't have not understood, then you can ask me questions. My contact, my email ID, my contact details, all have been given here on this my slide, and you can always ask, write to me. And thank you very much once again. I say thanks to humble thanks, thanks to Maharaj Sahib for giving me this opportunity to give my discourses on the scientific foundation of nonviolence. Thank you very much to all of you.
Thank you, Professor Rajpal Jain, for this talk of today. It is really very serious matter to think that how many species have already been extinct because of this meat eating habit of human beings. So it is really it is very difficult to control this kind of habits which people have already developed, and they are increasing their habits And because of that, mass production, meat production is also increasing, as you have shown through your own data. Nowadays, people are thinking about the vegan diet, and almost it is said that 10% of the world population has already converted into vegan diet. And some people are thinking about vegetarian diet. So don't you think that it is a positive sign that people are stopping their habit of meat eating?
Okay, I would like to add a sentence. When I started this mission,
Mm.
97, 98% people were non-vegetarian in
Mhm.
1998 or 97. Okay? At that time, there was not much awareness, scientific awareness about this non-violence, ahimsa, scientific based, religious, philosophical, okay. But when we started this whole thing in USA, in South America, in Europe also, and in other countries, I have, as I you know that I have visited more than 100 countries. So far, we have come all the way to 92, 93% non-vegetarian. But what I feel, even that 5% reduction is a substantial, it is a significant number for our whole approach. And now all those who were selling the meat very freely, now they have to do at least advertisement to sell that, even in USA or in other countries. Although the lifestyle, now on the other hand, which you told, it is a very, I mean, good news because I'm involved with this vegan and the vegetarian people. But as many numbers of vegetarian people, that is growth in the vegetarian and increasing number of vegan. At the same time, those who are vegetarian people, they are becoming non-vegetarian. Okay, this is alarming. This is a warning to all of us. I'm, I should not say on this platform, but I
Yes.
have even seen some chains now. They are also eating non-vegetarian, which is shame for us.
Yeah.
So total, by and large, I mean, whatever the percentage is gone on that side, that same percentage distilled by the other side. So we have the two faces of the coin, this side and that side. So we have to, I mean, make some kind of this whole world a Himsa world, not the Himsa world. So that is effort with your kind blessings we are all are doing jointly in this program also.
Okay.
When was it 97%?
Okay. Aridaman,
Yeah, I was asking when, how long ago was it 97%?
In 1995 to 2000, between 1995 to 2000, there was a year which, and that is not I, that is also was told to me by United Nations only at that time.
Thank you.
okay. So Hanshasha, you can ask your question.
नमस्कार आपने जो लास्ट दो स्लाइड दिखाई ना इन द लास्ट टू स्लाइड्स what is the relationship when the animals are being killed and why are those what is the mechanism by which there's the earth plates move and all these disasters happen how
Oh,
how are they connected
very good question. I wanted, but because the time was getting over, so but you have asked me and you
thank you
have forced me to explain the science. You see, I told you that the energy which is being transferred, energy is not only by this, but I have been telling by the waves. I explained in my one of the lectures, various kinds of waves are there. Now, when you slot in any animal, when you kill any animal, the first he will cry. I mean, even if you will hurt me, I will also cry. Okay, so like that. So that is the sonic waves. That those are the sonic waves. That is high frequency waves, and uh, there is a lot of, I mean, I should say, energy is deposited by that. So if now let us consider only one animal, let us say cow is being slaughtered. So in the beginning, when you will beat the cow and when it will undergo for the different kinds of pains to that animal cow, it will cry, and that energy is already deposited in the 4 pi, that is this hemispherical space, at least close to that, within, say, let us say few tens of kilometers, not too much, let us say, because the Akash Dravya, Akash space point, Akash Pradesh is everywhere, even right now in surrounding to me also. Now, when that speech energy, Bhasha Vargana, is finished, it is not able to now weep or cry anymore. So what will happen? Still energy is inside. That is, it will cry with the infrasonic waves. That is what I told with its mental. Its mind is still working. And that mental state waves, Traube Herring waves, if you remember, if you were there in that lecture. So that is a serious, big energy, okay, by which what it will say, oh, you have done so much, I mean, violence with me. I wish to give you this much curse. Just कहते हैं ना, what बद्दुआ, आह निकलती है. So that kind of exact word, aha and baddua, that is a big energy. In fact, that is a word, but it is that whole, if you consider, it is a sort of energy, and that energy is deposited. Now it is for a single one cow. Now millions of cows or the animals which are being slaughtered per day, means every second is being slaughtered somewhere in the world. Now the whole world, that is whole earth at surroundings, this is Akash Dravya surrounding this earth, and center of that, it is full of only hinsa, my urja. So that is what always takes energy. Now, how it takes? Why it should take the from the this natural disasters, earthquake? So I told you, if you remember, in my one of my slide in the beginning when I was explaining about the geosphere, most of the soil is magma. Magma means the humid, that is, you can say, uh, this water mixed soil, sand, and that generally catches the very fast the electric current kind of system. Okay, although I don't know how to explain to you, because you may be a science student or not, but it will catch immediately that energy. And it has a characteristic, magma always has a characteristic to transfer the energy from top to bottom or bottom to top very fast in few tens of hours, not in seconds, but in tens of hours or in tens of days. So that energy is keep on deposited. So they will actually trigger this natural mechanism, that is the tectonic plates, and so earthquakes. So you might have seen, अगर आप अपने माँ बाप के पेरेंट्स के टाइम पे पूछेंगे, इतना अर्थक्वेक नहीं आता था जितना अर्थक्वेक nowadays. We are getting more and more earthquakes, and some student asked me question, nowadays we are actually observing more number of earthquakes because we have a better instrument to observe. But the more than 5, even we were able to observe 100 years back also, and now also. So I have considered only those strongest earthquakes, strongest volcanoes, and strongest tsunamis. And in the last 20 years, that is in 21st century, in last 20 years, the numbers of earthquakes, even with our modern instrument we are measuring, the number of earthquakes, volcanoes, and tsunamis have exponentially gone up, and that number you have already seen. So basically it is a science mechanism, but it is the energy transfer through the waves. That is what generally in religion धार्मिक साधु संत बोलते हैं ना, vibrations, positive vibration, negative vibrations, like that. So it is, so whenever you do this kind of a killing, it is a negative vibration. So long wavelength, like this. Okay.
So, Professor, I have a question.
You can unmute yourself, okay? You can unmute, Hanshasa, you are not audible.
Now, did you hear whatever I told, or I have to repeat again? Hello, I am audible?
Yeah, you are audible. Just Hanshasa, yeah, she is asking something. Are you able to unmute? Okay, Just I'm checking because there was some a voice from background.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
But
no,
but whatever I told, it was audible to everyone.
yeah, it was audible. It was audible. It was
Okay.
finished after that. It is done.
Okay. Okay. If meanwhile we can take other question, then
Okay.
she will be.
Okay. So Suresh, just I'm seeing here if it is a it is.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Jai Jinendra, sir.
Okay.
Jai
Sir,
Jinendra,
very,
Suresh.
yes, very knowledgeable section, sir. I was thinking like this section, very interesting section, and we are aware of the violations more scientific way. Okay, thank you very much for that, sir. Sir, there are
Okay.
4 division in Earth. You are saying, Earth,
Yes.
yeah, Earth Kai, Prithvi Kai, Prithvi Jeev, and Prithvi itself. Can you give some examples, sir? We can understand Prithvi Jeev and Prithvi
Prithvi
also.
Jeev, yeah.
Okay, but
Okay.
Prithvi Kai.
Right. Okay. Prithvi itself is a one singular phenomenon.
Yeah, Prithvi we can understand, sir. Maybe sand, cave, or rock.
No, excuse me. Because I am not able to explain you because there is a lot of noise which I am getting.
Yeah. Just
Hello?
let me mute and then you have to unmute yourself. Okay, Professor. Yeah, you can now you unmute yourself. Are you able to unmute?
I am able to unmute. I'm audible.
Okay, so all people are requested to mute their speakers as soon as they finish their question. Okay.
Now that first of all, who asked the question? Suresh ji, right?
Yes.
Okay. So you see, this divisions basically not on this earth here. It is I am considering the everything through the cosmos. So divisions is based on the cosmos. And just like Prithvi Kaya means this here for a one earth and with the physical structure, that is Prithvi Kaya. Prithvi Ka Kaya means similar to this earth body system, that is through the other bodies just like Mars. Mars has a life structure, okay? Not five sense like our human being, but there are many kinds of creatures are there, even on the moon also. So those kind of bodies. So in Jambudvip, when you compare, then you will find Prathvika Kai similar to this. Or you know that nowadays we are talking about in the science exoplanets. Basically, exoplanets are nothing but Prathvika Kai Jeev. Okay, that is one thing. Prithvi Jeev, I have already told that curvilinear kind of a reptiles or other kinds of thing. Prithvi itself, when I remove Astikai, that word, then all the energy system is one. Because I'm telling you only in a very brief. And Prithvi Kai means this our Earth as a geosphere with a physical structure, that is this thing. So this is some kind of a brief I can, and you can consider even Mars also, even Saturn. You know that we have got the signatures of the life on the one of the moon, Titan of the Saturn. But life is everywhere, that is sure. And recently Prithvi, when I say as it is Prithvi Kai, means vertically when we go down. People told in the beginning only 5 kilometers there is a life, then 100 kilometers. Now they say that even the mental, that is 3,000 kilometers, everywhere there is a life. And finally, one day you will see, they will say, yes, it is in the core also. Even at this high temperature of 3,000 degree centigrade, how it is possible means that chemistry is yet to come. That biochemistry is yet to be understood. Okay. Any Hansa, if ready, then Hansa can ask. Hello, Hansa. I'm not able to hear anyone. Hansa Shah. Maharaj Sahab, are you able to hear me? Maharaj Sahab? Are you able?
Acha ji, so, Professor?
Maharaj Sahab, are you able to hear me?
Yes.
Yes, yes, yes. You are
Yes.
clear.
Okay.
You are clear.
Okay, Professor जी, तो आपने कहा ना जो तो has anybody detected that when the animals are crying, that energy going up and bad energy coming down to create such changes? And also my second question attached to that is that हम बोलते ना, if those who have committed crime, they should be punished, so the whatever area, but then when the ye plate on the earth that moves around, that may be in a different weakened area. So how is it related that the bad karma who are doing it and they should be suffering, instead of that the other people might be suffering? Or am I missing something?
Okay, the answer to the first question.
Yes.
Actually, we tried to detect these waves or energy deposition employing the infrasonic sensors some almost 10 years back.
Oh, wow.
Okay, but when we wanted to do this experiment in Rajkot in India, आप भारत के हैं तो राजकोट
हाँ
का नाम सुना होगा गुजरात
हाँ
में.
राजकोट की चलो.
Slaughterhouse, there is a big slaughterhouse
Oh.
there are 2-3 in fact, and this unfortunately I don't want to tell, but we were refused to do that, okay, by those slaughterhouse people. They did not allow. In fact, I was asked to be killed myself, okay. They told that they will kill me if I will pressurize them to do so. But and so in fact I purchased infrasonic sensors in those days, which were very expensive. But somehow this experiment was also supported financially to some extent by the government. They were also interested in my this hypothesis. But in other way, uh, this basically indirectly you can, I mean, then conjecture the model, the one which I showed, the coronavirus repercussions, okay, about the deaths versus the meat eaten, that non-vegetarian food. Uh, Directly, yes, one can do if some slaughterhouse permits. Now I'm in Maharashtra and I have been trying. If they will agree with this, then in fact, even in the our religious places where this sacrificial is being conducted, बलि चढ़ाया जाता है. In Odisha, if you know that in Bhubaneswar there is a temple जहाँ अभी भी बलि चढ़ाई जाती, but they also are not interested to be people around them. So I mean, people are not giving support for this kind of thing, but certainly this is what the physics says. So this is my response to your first question. And if USA people allow, then perhaps somebody can conduct the experiment in USA. Now you are asking that how there is a connection between this energy which is deposited to this tectonic plates. Am I right? This is your
Yes.
second question.
Right.
See, now can you see in my palm here?
Yes.
Can you
Yes.
see? So you just consider this is one plate. Okay, this is one plate, and this is my mobile is a second plate. Now they are moving. They don't know where we have to go, but they go in an irregular way. But at least they know that wherever the friction force is less, that is to stop them wherever it is less, they will go over there. And so they may go directly like this, or they may go like this, or they may go away from each other. Now that part depends that where they will go. So that acceleration, I'm using the term that the motion per unit time is accelerated, and that and is done only, it is only possible by energy. Nothing else can be done. Rest of the things, that whatever the friction forces whatever the internal structure is the same and same. Internal structure is same and same, that pressure, temperature, and density. Now from somewhere, some energy should be there, which will accelerate these plates to go and do the thing. And then the recurrence should be there. So who can do? It means there should be now my dp by dt, that is dt here, or dp by dx, that is pressure gradient, temperature gradient, should be changed all of a sudden or increased, and that will be done by through the top surface energy. Okay, so that is the what energy is keep on coming by this kind of way. There may be good energy also. The one which I am talking is bad energy, let us say, but the bad energy is keep on increasing, not only in this way by through the slaughterhouse, but by the many other activities of the people. You know, not only hinsa, but parigraha, okay, by thoughts, by the greed index I showed, by the passion, मान अभिमान etc, men, the pride etc. So karuna hi ab chali gayi hai, so all those things also, so you know the various kinds of karmas are there, and those different energies on different wavelength, they are keep on coming and adding over. So if you take the summation of all these different energies, so bad energy summation and good, you will find that the good is keep on reducing, bad is increasing, and that's why the whole nature and climate is changing.
Okay, I have some other questions, but I don't know if other people have other questions to ask. I don't want to take all their time, but I do have some other question if people after people get done or sometimes.
Okay, yeah, some other people, they can ask first. Yeah, Sharad bhai, you can ask your question.
वंदा में समणी जी और राजमल जी को भी प्रणाम और सभी श्रोतागण को भी प्रणाम। जय जिनेन्द्र, आपने बहुत बढ़िया समझाया है। और मैं तो ये अपनी जैन की भाषा में बोलूं तो ये आक्रांत रुदन जो सब जीवों का होता है, वो प्रकृति सुन रही है। उसमें अर्थ भी आ गया, वायु का भी आ गया, आकाश भी आ गया, सब लोग सुन रहे हैं और फिर वो रिएक्ट होते हैं। उससे ही ये धरतीकंप और ये सब होता है। जो अपना सब जीवों आक्रांत तो करता ही है, रोते ही है जब भी मरने का है, इतनी हिंसा होती है तो उसका रुदन, तो रुदन का जो आवाज से ये सब प्रकृतियां ही रोती है और प्रकृतियां जवाब दे देती है इंसान को। ये मैं
जी शरद
समझता
भाई,
हूँ।
आप जो बात कह रहे हैं, मैंने वही बात कही है, मैंने साइंटिफिक वे में बात बताई थी, और वही बात मैंने हंसा जी को अभी जवाब में भी दे रहा था।
हाँ जी, हाँ जी।
और मैं आपको एक उदाहरण एविडेंस के रूप में, हंसा जी ने पूछा तो मैं एक और उदाहरण देना चाहता हूँ। आई वांट टू गिव एग्जांपल टू हंसा शाह।
Thank you.
ये धरती पूरा गवाह है, विटनेस है। जब महाभारत का युद्ध हुआ था, सबसे ज्यादा बड़ी हिंसा पंचेंद्रिय जीव की जो हुई, 120 करोड़ लोगों की जो हत्या हुई 5000 साल पहले, ठीक है, 3500 है 5000 जो भी आप कहें, 3500 साल अगर इस एरा से गिने तो उसकी वजह से पृथ्वी का पूरा वायुमंडल इतना खराब हो गया और पृथ्वी की प्रकृति का क्लाइमेट खराब हुआ उसकी वजह से। जस्ट बिकॉज ऑफ दैट रिपरकेशन, दैट रिस्पॉन्स विच केम फ्रॉम द अर्थ, उससे इंडस, मैं पहले भी बता चुका हूं, इंडस सिविलाइजेशन सबसे बड़ी इस धरती पर संस्कृति सभ्यता थी, वो पूरी की पूरी सभ्यता खत्म हो गई। सी किया किसने और भोगा किसने? बट and why it happened? Because the big natural disaster, earthquake, volcano and tsunami all together, they all together came at one time and everything was finished. And this is not I am saying, even the scientific proof, there are papers in nature which have been, last year ही एक paper publish हुआ है by Professor Shinde, जो यहाँ के हैं big जो वो क्या बोलते हैं अपना आर्कियोलॉजिस्ट हैं, he has published that paper and I talked with him last year when I had been there in a conference to give presentation on the actually nirvana of Bhagwan Mahavir. So this is जो अभी सब कुछ हम जो कुछ करते हैं, मैं what I wish to say, whatever the human beings or any life does, everything is encrypted. Encryption जानते हैं, सब चीज का लिखावट होता है in one or the other form. So people should not just make a joke. Nothing is like that, but it is everything is being recorded, and that is what we say karma bandh. So what I was telling to you, if I take integration of all bad things of different karmas, I mean, that is one, let us say, negative side, and when we take positive side. आज से 100 साल पहले, 200 साल पहले, I have told today in my lecture history, 7 millions of time, okay, the people were there, and as a function of time, how the talent came, and with the talent they are doing more violence. So the now good has decreased, bad has increased, and that's why we are facing all these problems, and we will be keep on facing these problems much more if we will not improve this our lifestyle.
जैना फ्लोरिडा में होने वाली है, समणी जी तो लेक्चर देने वाले हैं, तो जैना में आप पधारिए, फ्लोरिडा में है, ऑरलैंडो में है।
हाँ, लेकिन मेरा लेक्चर में नाम ही नहीं रखा है, वो तो ऑलरेडी सब कुछ पहले से फिनिश कर चुके हैं, ऐसा बोला मुझे, मैंने बोला था। हाँ, वो तो बोले
यहाँ के जो
सारे
हमारा
स्पीकर्स का
जेवीबी
नाम
के
फाइनली हो गया,
जेवीबी के प्रेसिडेंट है ने देवेंद्र मेहता, उनको बात करूंगा मैं, और उनसे बात करके आपका लेक्चर का रखाने का बोलूंगा, रिक्वेस्ट करूंगा।
जरूर जरूर करिए, और मेरे पास तो ऑलरेडी वीजा है, मुझे वो वीजा भी लेने की जरूरत नहीं है।
हाँ जी,
और हाँ, कोई
और
प्रॉब्लम
नासा
नहीं,
भी आपका
आप भी
यहाँ
कर सकते
ऑरलैंडो में है, सब कुछ हमारे घर रहने के लिए व्यवस्था है, आप
हैं।
पधारिए
हाँ,
हमारे घर
वो
ऑरलैंडो।
तो बहुत अच्छी बात है, लेकिन आऊंगा, इसलिए तो फिर मैं जहाँ मेरा गोडार्ड स्पेस फ्लाइट सेंटर जो नासा का है, वहाँ
हाँ जी,
मैं
सही बात।
रहता हूँ, तो वहाँ काम करता
अच्छा,
हूँ, मैरीलैंड जो है ना,
So,
हाँ
ग्रीन
जी,
बेल्ट।
समझता हूँ।
thank you.
हाँ
So
जी,
I have another lecture, so we have to stop here. If
Yes.
someone has any questions, they can send through email, and we can forward those questions to Professor Rajmal Jain, and he will reply through email. So, or next time you can ask any question if you have. So, thank you very much, Professor Rajmal Jain, for such a long
Thank you,
discussion,
जी।
answering to all
समणी
the
जी आपने वंदन, छोटे समणी जी को भी वंदना करते हैं।
yes. Thank you.
चरण वंदामी,
थैंक यू,
सब चरण वंदामी।
Thank you, Rajmal ji.
वंदामी चरण वंदामी।
Wonderful talk. Yes.
Thank you, Samni ji.